So assume the position. Find something to sit upon and then sit upon it. Make yourself at home. And then settle in. You'll notice what I'm doing here. I'm rocking from side to side. I'm spreading the will all around, side to side. Getting a nice comfy seat. And good evening. Welcome to the story of Shiva and the warrior. I'm going to start with hands in a mudra. And I'm going to mirror image you, just so it makes sense for you. Typically, it would be the right hand setting into the palm of the left, and then the tips of your thumbs touch. Shoulders shrug up, back and down. Do make sure you're sitting on enough height so that your thighs fall away from you, your knees angle down towards the ground, and there's space, and you can sit up tall and comfortable. You're going to be here for a little while. To settle in, take a good shoulder shrug. Inhale up, and exhale back and down. And then I invite you to close your eyes, turn your attention inward. So this mudra, this hand position, the right hand in the palm of the left and the tips of your thumbs touching together, is said to help cultivate memory, help you to preserve memory. So maybe you'll remember something from tonight. And with your attention turned inward, your eyes closed, allow your breath to linger. Let your breath lengthen. Cultivate long, slow, deep breaths. So tonight's story is the story of Shiva, Sati, and Virabhadrasana, the warrior. And there's a number of other players as well. Shiva is one of the big three of gods in Hindu mythology. They're all male, the big three. There's Brahma, the creator, Vishnu, the sustainer, and Shiva, the destroyer. Shiva is famous, infamous for withdrawing from the world into deep periods, long periods of deep meditation. So as we settle in, allow your senses to withdraw from the outside world. Turn your attention in. And begin to cultivate a meditation, relaxed state. So Shiva, as he does, as we begin this story, is in a state of deep contemplation, a deep meditative trance-like state, withdrawn from the physical world. And as the cosmos, the physical world, is regulated by the activities of the big three, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. With Shiva withdrawn, no longer doing his job, things were out of balance. And Brahma and Vishnu appealed to Devi, that's the female goddess, the ultimate feminine manifestation. Brahma and Vishnu go to Devi and say, maybe you can help us out here. We need you to tempt, entice Shiva into the real world. So slowly allow your eyes to open. Come into the real world. Shrug your shoulders all the way up, back and down. Press your fingertips into the floor. Lift your heart up and press your chest forward, leading the way with your heart. You'll find a tipping point where it's comfortable to bring your hands forward. Feel free to do so. Continue to bow forward. Now, when you bow forward, your knees are uncomfortable, you can consider sitting on a little bit more height or prop your knees up. Give your knees a little bit of support. All this weight coming forward. You don't want to aggravate your knees. And again, turn your attention inward. Once you've tipped forward, come into this position, allow your head to bow and your eyes to close. So Devi, the female goddess, the embodiment of all that is female, says, okay, guys, I'll help you out. But here's the deal. I will manifest in such a way that I can draw Shiva out of his meditative, contemplative state and put him to work doing his job in the cosmos. But the two of you, Brahma and Vishnu, have to agree to respect women, treat women as the equals of men in all things. And very quickly, Brahma and Vishnu agree. Okay, yeah, sure. Yeah. Okay, fine. Whatever you say, we'll do that. So from here, press your hands to the ground, slowly crawl yourself back up to sit, shrug your shoulders up, back and down, and recross your shins, putting the other leg in front. Again, you might consider sitting on a little bit more height or sliding something underneath your knees in case you're nervous about your knees. Take a shoulder shrug up, back and down, press your fingertips into the floor, lift your heart up and bow forward. You'll find that tipping point again. I invite you, if it's comfortable for you, to bring your hands forward. Continue to lead the way with your heart, and then bow your head, closing your eyes, turning your attention inward. At the same time that Brahma and Vishnu are striking this deal with Devi to bring Shiva out of meditation, there are people down on earth, and there is a couple, Daksha and his wife, Prasuti. Daksha and his wife Prasuti wish to have another daughter. And they try and Prasuti is not getting pregnant. And they are distraught. And they decide to devote themselves to Devi and pray for and work towards a daughter. And Devi, hearing their prayers, decides this is my opportunity. She goes to Daksha and his wife. Press your hands into the floor, slowly sit up. Once again, open your eyes, shoulder shrug up, back and down. You're going to shift your weight over to the side, swing your legs out in front, give them a little bit of a shake, jiggle. Then you're going to swing your legs back and come into a child's pose. I'm going to recommend you orient to look towards the screen. I'm going to turn sideways just so you can see the profile view a little bit better on this one, in case you don't know what a child's pose looks like. Child's pose, padding can go underneath your knees if you're on a hard surface. Highly recommend padding beneath your knees. Let your knees go wide, bring your big toes together and press your backside onto your heels, curling up into a ball, child's pose. From here, you can use your blocks or your fists. If you're using blocks, you can use the edge of your block for something to rest your third eye upon. If you're not using blocks, you can stack your fists, one potato, two potato, and put that third potato, that third eye, on top of that stack, just so that your head is supported. Hips back up over your heels, your back is rounded, head is supported, and again, turn your attention inward. Manifest deep, slow breaths. Begin to massage your back with long, slow, deep breaths. So Devi appears before Daksha and his wife with a gold crown, golden armor, red, blood red clothing, thousands of hands, and an infinite number of weapons. She is fierce. She is a goddess. From here, press your hands into the floor, slowly come on up. Bring your hands beneath your shoulders, your knees beneath your hips, coming to hands and knees, curl your toes under. And with an inhale, lift your head towards the sky. And as you exhale, press your breath out, pull your belly in, arch your back towards the sky. And inhale, head up, tail up, come into cow. And exhale, bow forward into cat. And continue to wave your spine back and forth from cat to cow, following the flow of your breath. Feel your spine arching one way, then the other. As you do this, think about the curves in the yin-yang symbol. How there's a drop of white in the field of black, and how there's a drop of black in the field of white. And as you curve your spine this way and that way, let it be that dividing line between the white and the black, arching one way and then arching the other. So in mythological stories, the balance between male and female, between the yin and the yang, between the ha and the tha, the male, the female, the sun, the moon, are always in constant fluctuation, never a static situation. And when things are out of balance, everybody is always striving to put things back into equilibrium. So Devi agrees to incarnate as the daughter of Daksha and his wife, and that daughter's name is Sati. From here, with your next exhalation, as you move back into that cat pose, gather your belly up into your body, and then lift your hips high towards the sky as you back up into your downward facing dog. And take your feet wide apart as your mat, and begin to sway your hips from side to side. Shake out your hair, wiggle your jaw. Turn your gaze inward. Observe how your body feels this evening. Let your hips dance and sway from side to side. Be a happy dog as you pedal your feet. Be happy parents. Welcome your new daughter into the world. And then slowly come to neutral. And once again, come up onto tippy toes, bend your knees back down to the floor. This time, keep your toes curled under so you get a bit of a toe stretch. Coming to neutral, neither cat nor cow, just a flat back. Back your hips up over your heels. Walk your hands up onto your lap. Get a little bit of a toe stretch. Turn your palms forward, take a shoulder shrug up, back and down. Settle onto those heels. Now, if this is a little too much stretch for your toes, you can be in a kneeling position, take some of the weight off. If that's still too much, you can bow forward, pray for this to be over, appeal to the gods to take away your suffering. If at all possible, turn your attention inward and slow and calm your breath. Always turning your attention back in. Breathing slowly. And then from here, release. Untuck your toes. Spread your knees wide. Once again, back your hips up onto your heels for your child's pose, with your arms extended out in front. With your arms extended out in front, crawl both hands over to the right and lean into the left side of your body. Find that curve through the side of your body. And come to neutral. And over to the other side. Lean into the right side of your body. So the child Sati is born. Unbeknownst to Daksha and his wife is the deal that Brahma and Vishnu struck with Devi. If only everybody communicated a little bit better, things would work out. But these gods are just like us humans. All the same foibles, all the same frailties. You're going to crawl yourself on up to sit. Remove that pillow once again. And once again, come into a downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, walk your feet towards the front edge of your mat. Hang your head. Shake out your hair, wiggle your jaw. Maybe even yawn. Let your feet go as wide apart as your mat. Keep a slight bend in your knees as you wrap your fingers around your elbows. I dream of genie style. And let your head hang. Begin to sway from side to side. Let your elbows, your hair sweep the floor as you shift your weight all the way from one hip all the way to the other. So Sati begins to mature. As a child, she takes up drawing. She has vivid dreams. Swirling, dancing, contorted body. A long, lithe, sinewy body. A male body. The body of a god. And she sketches these dreams. And she hides her sketches beneath her pillow. And she dreams of her dream man. When she continues to mature and age, her dreams become more intense. You're going to come to neutral. Bend your knees. And with a reverse swan dive, inhale, come all the way up to standing. Circle your arms up and overhead. From here, exhale, release your arms down to your sides. Turn your palms forward. Take a great big shoulder shrug. Inhale, up, back, and down. And with an inhale, circle your arms up and overhead. With your knees bent, exhale, swan dive down into a forward fold. Arms dangle as you inhale, come halfway up. And exhale, release. Place your hands on the ground. Step back into your downward facing dog. And that downward facing dog, bow your head. Shake out your hair, wiggle your jaw. Maybe even yawn. From downward facing dog, slowly walk back to the front edge of your mat. Hang your head, bend your knees, and with a reverse swan dive, inhale, come all the way up to standing. And exhale, release your arms down by your sides. Turn your palms forward, take a great big shoulder shrug, a great big yawn. Reset. Inhale, arms up. As you exhale, bend your knees, swan dive down. Arms dangle as you inhale, come halfway up. And exhale, release. Take a giant step back with your right foot. Take up space, go long. Allow your right knee to bend down towards the ground. Maybe settle onto the floor. Climb your hands up onto your front thigh. Shrug your shoulders down away from your ears. Lift your heart up. Let your heart shine open. So Sati's heart, Sati's whole being was for Shiva. And as she came to her maturity and she became 16, 17-ish years old, her dreams became more intense. Lunge a little deeper into this pose. And then bring both hands to the ground, back your hips up, rock back on your front heel. Turn this into a bit of a hamstring stretch. And bow your head. So Sati would daydream about this man in her dreams. She began to chant silently to herself, Shiva, Shiva. She began to know Shiva through her dreams. Shift your weight forward. Curl your back toes under, lift your hips high. Step back into your downward facing dog. Shake out your hair, wiggle your jaw, maybe even yawn. And then from here, walk all the way back to the front edge of your mat. Let your head hang. Bend your knees, and with a reverse swan dive, inhale, come all the way back up to standing. And exhale, press your breath out, pull your belly in. Release your arms to your sides. Palms forward, inhale, come all the way back up to standing. As you exhale, swan dive down into that forward fold once again. Arms dangle. Inhale, come halfway up. And exhale, release. From here, please take a giant step back with your left foot. Again, take up space. Be present. And allow that back knee to come down to the floor. Maybe put a pillow underneath it if you need some padding. Climb your hands up onto that front thigh. Drop your shoulders down. Let your hips drive forward. So when Daksha and his wife appealed to Devi to give them a daughter, she had her conditions, just like she had conditions for Brahma and Vishnu, that women be treated equal to men. Devi's conditions for Daksha and his wife were that they would never, ever harm their daughter, never ever be inconsiderate to their daughter, always respect her wishes and consider her feelings. Now that you're getting some intense feeling in the front of the hip, go ahead, back it up, rock back on the front heel, turn this into a bit of a hamstring stretch and bow your head. The conditions, if the conditions were not met, then Devi said she would disown the family and she would leave their lives forever. In essence, saying if they did not respect their daughter Sati and respect her wishes, well then Sati would no longer be their daughter. From here, shift forward. Sweep that leg back behind you. Once again, turn this into a downward facing dog. Shake out your hair, wiggle your jaw, maybe even yawn. And once again, walk towards the front edge of your mat. Hang your head, bend your knees, and with a reverse swan dive, inhale, come all the way up to standing. And exhale, release your arms down to your sides. Turn your palms forward, take a great big shoulder shrug, a great big yawn. Inhale, both arms up and overhead. Once again, bend your knees, swan dive down into a forward fold. Dangle your arms as you inhale, come halfway up. To keep a slight bend in your knees, maybe take your feet a little bit wider apart so that you can slide the palms of your hands underneath the soles of your feet. Palms of your hands slide underneath the soles of your feet. Again, profile view, it looks like this. Standing on my hands, knees unlocked, giving yourself a bit of a wrist stretch here. Bowing forward, head down, gaze and attention turned inward. Breathe. Release your hands to the mat. Take your hands out from beneath your feet. Step back into your downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, you can come down to hands and knees and settle into child's pose, or flow. Rise up onto tippy toes, shift your body weight forward, come to the top of a push-up. You can lower your knees. Go ahead, lower your knees this first time around. Keep your toes curled under. Shift your chest forward a little bit more and let your elbows scrape your ribs as you chaturanga, lower down. Shrug your shoulders up onto your back, lift your heart up. And exhale, gather your belly into your body, back up into your child's pose. And from child's pose into your downward facing dog. Breathe. Now, Daksha is a prideful man. He's a ritualist. He follows all the rules. And he rules a kingdom. He's a very elite, high-powered man. From here, walk your feet towards the front edge of your mat. And it becomes known to him, with a reverse swan dive in, he'll come all the way up to standing, that his daughter is maturing into a woman who dreams of a wild man who dances wildly in the forest. Inhale, take your arms up and overhead. As you exhale, bend your knees, swan dive down, melt your heart towards the floor. Arms dangle as you inhale, come halfway up. And exhale, release. Take 2 fingers, your peace fingers, around your big toes. Get a good grip on those toes. Keep a bend in your knees. Inhale, lift your heart, Lift your chest forward and begin to pull your legs straight, pressing your inner thighs back. And pull on your toes as you press down through the balls of your feet. Press down into your heels. Spread your heels without actually moving your feet, and blossom your sit bones. And then let your elbows bend as you bow your heart to your shins. Let your head hang. Continue to pull on your big toes, pressing down into the balls of your feet, into the heels of your feet, spreading your heels as you press your thighs back, coming into the deep forward fold. Daksha was not the type to bow unless it was in a ritual in which he was hoping to appeal to a god to get something. From here, release your hands to the floor. Fingers spread wide. Step back into your downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, rise to tippy toes, shift your body weight forward, come to the top of a push-up. You can drop your knees and back up into child's pose, or drop your knees and shift forward, or stay up on tippy toes and shift forward. Chaturanga, lower down. Shrug your shoulders back, lift your heart up. Maybe coming into up dog. And exhale, pull your tummy in back up towards child's pose, and then turn it into a downward facing dog. Shake out your hair, wiggle your jaw, maybe even yawn. Sati was becoming ever more devoted to Shiva. And she went one day into the forest and surrendered herself to devotion, to abstaining, living an ascetic life, barely eating anything, and eventually eating just one leaf a day to sustain herself, spending all day in prayer and chant in hopes of drawing Shiva to her. And of course, Sati being the incarnation of Devi, the ultimate feminine goddess. Go ahead, walk, step, or jump to the front edge of your mat. Sati was able to draw Shiva from his stupor. Bend your knees. Reverse swan dive. Inhale, come up to standing. And exhale, release your arms down to your sides. Turn your palms forward. Take a great big shoulder shrug. A great big yawn. Inhale, brings arms up and overhead. From here, release your left hand down. Reach up tall through the right side of your body and tip over into a bit of a side stretch. Open your side body. Breathe. And inhale, come all the way up. And release. Second verse, same as the first. Great big inhale, arms up and overhead. And exhale, release that right hand down to your hip. Inhale, stretch long and tall through the left side of your body. And then tip over for a side stretch. So Sati was irresistible. Inhale, come all the way up. And exhale, release. With a great big inhale, arms come all the way up and overhead. And bend your knees. Swan dive into that forward fold once more. Inhale, come halfway up. And exhale, release. Please take a giant step back with your right foot. Wiggle that right heel a little bit further, back, 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 back. Press hard into that right heel. You feel a good, strong calf stretch. And then step back with your left foot, pressing back through both heels, trying to stretch both calves at the same time. Stay here or drop down into child's pose. Stay here or lower your knees to the mat. Stay here or shift forward. Keep your toes curled under as you elbows scrape your ribs. Chaturanga, lower down. Keep pressing through your heels as you peel your chest away from the ground. Straighten your arms for your upward facing dog. Exhale, transition back into a downward facing dog. We all meet up in downward facing dog. Shake out your hair, wiggle your jaw, maybe even yawn. Shake out your hair as if you were Lord Shiva, who has dreadlocks. Consumes intoxicants. He likes to drink, he likes to party, he likes to smoke pot. He likes to dance. Let your hips Sway wide from side to side. Bend one knee, then the other. Shake out your hair, wiggle your jaw. Press back through one heel, then the other. Really take up space, be present. And then locate that right foot. You're gonna press your right heel down towards the ground. Bend your left knee, and then lift your left leg high into the sky, opening up into bad dog at the hydrant. Shiva was the ultimate bad boy, the kind of guy your 16, 17, 18-year-old daughter wants to be with, the kind of guy your teenage daughter dreams about, the kind of guy that Daksha does not approve of. And then from here, release. From here, you can lift your head, gaze forward, bend your knees, press back into your heels, press your hips back toward your heels. Get ready to leapfrog, hippity hop, jump to the front edge of your mat, or walk to the front edge of your mat. Bow your head, hang your head, knees bent, reverse swan dive. Inhale, come all the way up to standing. And exhale, release arms down to your sides. Turn your palms forward, take a great big shoulder shrug, a great big yawn. Inhale, arms up and overhead. Bend your knees, swan dive down into that forward fold. Inhale, come halfway up. And exhale, release. Please take a giant step back with your left foot. Wiggle that left heel back, 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 back. Press hard into that back heel. Breathe. So this guy, Shiva, manifest in the world once again, this god, occupies himself by dancing around funeral pyres and smearing ash upon his body. He wears a tattered, skimpy loincloth. He is tan and sinewy and smelly and everything that teenage girl wants. Everything that Daksha does not approve of. Go ahead, step back with that right foot, press into both heels, power your body straight as a board, light as a feather. Or soften into your child's pose, or drop your knees, or shift forward. Let your elbows scrape your ribs as you lower down once again. Shoulders shrug back onto your body as you peel. Lift your heart up for your upward facing dog. And exhale back into downward facing dog. Hopefully you're beginning to feel the heat within your body. From here, lift your head, bend your knees, back your hips up towards your heels, and once again, walk, step, or jump to the front edge of your mat. Bow your head. Reverse swan dive. Inhale, come all the way up to standing. And exhale, release. Turn your palms forward, take a great big shoulder shrug, a great big yawn. Shiva is depicted as dancing within a ring of fire. He is a four-armed god. He has 4 arms. With his lower right hand, he makes the signal, the sign, the mudra for fear not. So I ask you to fear not. As you shift your weight over onto that right foot, exhale, pull your tummy in and gather that left knee up towards your chest. Shoulders back and down, chest lifted, breathing without fear as you stand on one leg. Shiva is depicted as having 2 legs, standing on a demon with his right leg. That is the demon of illusion, the distractions that prevent man from achieving samadhi, transcendence, bliss, knowledge. And go ahead, release. Now shift your weight over to the other side. With his lower left arm, Shiva is depicted as gesturing towards his left hand, left foot. Okay. He stands on the right and he gestures towards his left foot. So let's go ahead, pick up your right foot just for fun. Hold on to it, make yourself even on both sides. So again, Shiva is depicted as standing on one leg. He's standing on his right foot, crushing the demon of distraction, using his left hand to gesture towards his left foot. And with that left hand, he's showing you the way towards enlightenment, towards wisdom. Because on the bottom of that foot is the dust of the miles walked, of the wisdom of the guru. Go ahead, release both feet to the floor. Take a great big inhale, arms all the way up and overhead. Please bend your knees, swan dive down into a forward fold. Inhale, come halfway up. And exhale, release. Bow your head and contemplate your feet. Without moving your feet anyway, activate like you're spreading your heels. Widen your sit bones. Let your hands slide down to your feet, your ankles. It's not uncommon for people to honor their teachers, their gurus, by touching the guru's feet, taking some of the dust, the symbolic dust of the miles tread of the years of study, and taking that dust and touching it to their breast, touching it to their forehead to gain some of that wisdom. Head hangs, knees bent, reverse swan dive, inhale, come all the way up. Circle of flames about your body. As you exhale, release your arms down to your sides. You're going to shift your weight back over onto that right foot. Let your left knee turn out to the side and gesture towards that left foot if you like. You would do it with your left hand though. Go ahead, bring that left foot up against your inner thigh. So I'm using my left hand to take that left foot up against my right inner thigh. Maybe getting some of that dust on my fingertips. Shoulders are up, back, and down as you open up into your tree pose. So Shiva has two upper arms. In the left hand, he holds Agna, the fire, Agni, the fire. So in his left hand, he's holding a flame. This is the flame of creation and the fire of destruction. That creative fire that burns within us, and that fire that opens up the acorn so that the pine tree can go to the next generation, so that those seeds can be released and planted. It's a fire of creation and a fire of destruction that leads to creation, burning in that left hand. From here, release. Shift your weight over to the other leg. Spin that right knee out to the side. Place your right foot up against the left inner thigh. Shrug your shoulders up, back, and down. Once again, lift your arms up and overhead. In Shiva's right hand, he holds a drum. It looks like two cones touching at their tips. It's a damaru, it's a hand drum. And in that drum, as he beats the drum, he beats the life pulse of the cosmos. So perhaps you're feeling your heart beating right now. Do your best to breathe. Temper that fire within. And then from here, release. Once again, inhale, arms all the way up and overhead. And as you exhale, circle sweep, touch the flames in that ring of fire as you bow forward. Let your head hang. Your hips, hands slide down your legs with a reverse swan dive. Inhale, come all the way up. And exhale, release your arms to your sides. Shift your weight over onto your right foot. Unlock your knees. You use that left hand, shoulder shrug, up, back, and down. Reach back with that left hand to touch the dust on the left foot. You grab a hold of that left foot. Shoulders up, back, and down, belly pulled in. Allow that right arm to rise into the sky, that drumbeat of your heart pounding away as you begin to kick back into Natranjasana, the dancing Shiva pose, the pose named after Shiva, Nataraj, heart beating, breathing, shoulders down away from the ears, kicking back with wild abandon, finding that edge of balance where you might just fall out of the pose and dancing on that edge. And then gracefully, gratefully release. Shoulders shrug up, back and down. Shift your weight over to the right side, other side. Shoulders up, back and down. Reach back with your right hand, grab a hold of the right foot. Let that left arm come high into the sky. We'll go for dancer pose on the other side. Pulling your belly in tight, begin to kick back. Keep your heart lifted. Sati joins Shiva in the forest. They become engaged, and eventually they become married, and they live together in the forest, dancing together, hearts beating, bum, 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 bum. Flames of desire, the male and female reunited, newlyweds. Big breath here. And then exhale, release. You step to the front edge of your mat. Inhale, both arms all the way up and overhead. Exhale, bend your knees, swan dive down into a forward fold. Inhale, come halfway. And exhale, release. If it works for you, take your feet maybe a little bit wider apart so you can bend your knees. Definitely have some good balance here. If it works for you, you have the option of bringing your hands together behind your back again, interlacing your fingers, maybe holding on to elbows behind your back, maybe even doing a reverse namaste, a prayer position with your hands behind your back. And breathe. So Sati's prayers have been answered. Brahma and Vishnu's request has been granted. Shiva has been drawn out of his meditation and into this reality. But there were behind the back dealings going on. Those prayers happened without everybody being in agreement or with the knowledge of what the other parties have agreed to. So from here, release those hands from behind your back. Let your arms dangle. And with a reverse swan dive, inhale, come all the way up to standing. Step your feet narrow, close together. Bring your hands together over your head. Once again, into a prayer-like position. Fingertips shooting towards the sky. Stand tall and upright, as Daksha does. He's an upright, well-respected, powerful man. High class. Big inhale. And as you exhale, sway over to the right. Press out with the bottom hand to get a little bit more side stretch. Daksha does not bend. He is rigid in his thinking. There are rituals to be followed. Even though he does not approve of his new son-in-law, he's going to put on the required festival, the required party, celebration of the new couple. From here, inhale, come all the way up. And release your arms down to your sides. Turn your palms forward, shoulder shrug. Maybe shake it off a little bit. Reset. Inhale, both arms up and overhead. Join your hands together once again in that prayer position. And side bend to the other side. Again, Daksha's not the type to bend. He holds on to his traditions. He does not approve of his new son-in-law, this wild and crazy, dreadlocked, pot-smoking, loincloth-wearing, dirty guy who hangs out with all the scum of the earth, all the people on the edges, the fringes of society. Guy lives down by the river, out in the forest. He stole away his teenage daughter. Oh, Daksha's going to show him. Inhale, come all the way up. And please bend your knees. Swan dive down into a forward fold. Inhale, come halfway up. And exhale, release. From the front edge of your mat, step back into that plank pose. Shift forward. You can drop to your knees if you like. Chaturanga, lower down. Shoulders back, chest lift, cobra. Up dog. Exhale, back into downward facing dog. And breathe. Take 5 breaths. If only Daksha had taken 5 breaths and he was able to blow out some of that heat. But he decides to host a party and he invites everybody. All of the other kings and princes and gods and goddesses. Everybody is invited to this soiree except for Shiva and Sati. He intentionally does not invite the newlyweds. He's going to publicly diss their marriage. From here, walk, step, or hop to the very front edge of your mat. Bow your head. Reverse swan dive. Inhale, come all the way up to standing. And exhale, release your arms down to your sides. Turn your palms forward, shoulder shrug, inhale, up. Exhale, back and down. Inhale, both arms up and overhead. Exhale, bend your knees, swan dive down into a forward fold. Inhale, come halfway up. Exhale, release. Hop back to the top of a push-up. Chaturanga, lower down. Shoulders back, chest lifted, up dog. Exhale, down dog for 5 breaths. So he puts on this party, the party that people will be telling stories about thousands of years later. Outside the gates of his kingdom, he places sculptures of Shiva that he defiles so that everybody entering the party, entering the kingdom, will see these effigies of Shiva and how they've been defiled and know how Daksha truly feels about his son-in-law. A word gets to Shiva and Sati that this party is being thrown by Daksha and everybody's invited. And Sati thinks to herself, says to her husband, oh, he must have just not bothered to send us an invitation because of course we're family, of course we're invited. We don't need a paper invitation, an official invitation. You don't have to officially invite members of your family to such a party. And after all, this party is being thrown in our honor. I'm going to go. From here, look forward, get ready to go to the very front edge of your mat. Bow your head. Reverse swan dive. Inhale, come all the way up. And exhale, release your arms to your sides. Shoulder shrug. Inhale up. Exhale, back and down. Inhale, both arms up. Bend your knees. Exhale, swan dive down. Arms dangle as you inhale, come halfway up. And exhale, release. Hippity hop, step back. Shift forward. Lower down. Shoulders up, back, and down. Chest lifts. Exhale, down dog for 5 breaths. Sati tells Shiva she's going to go to this party. And Shiva goes, I'm not going. I already pissed this guy off enough. I don't want to cause any more strife in this family. I'm going to stay home. But I'll send my bodyguard with you to help you on the journey to and fro and to make sure you get there safe and you come home safe from this party. But I'm staying home. So lift your head, gaze forward. Sati jumps to the front edge of the mat, goes to that party. Knees bent, reverse swan dive. Inhale, show up the front edge of your mat. And exhale, release your arms down to your sides. So Sati presents herself at the party. Shoulder shrug up, back, and down. Inhale, both arms up and overhead. Exhale, bend your knees, swan dive down. Inhale, come halfway up. Exhale, release. You know where we're going. Back, forward, down, up, and back into the downward facing dog. Shake out your hair, wiggle your jaw. She enters the party and Daksha is worked up. He's been trash talking to everybody who has shown up. His entire audience knows his feelings. And here comes Sati uninvited through the gates into the party. And he begins to insult her. Now you remember the agreement that Daksha and his wife made with Devi so that she would incarnate as Sati was that they would never insult, belittle, or hurt the feelings of their daughter. And there Daksha was. He couldn't help himself. He just had to insult Shiva, insult Sati's taste. From here, lift your head up. Walk, step, jump forward. Front edge of your mat. Hang your head. Bend your knees. Reverse swan dive. Inhale all the way up. Full of heat. Full of fire. And release your arms to your sides. Turn your palms forward. Shoulder shrug. Inhale up. Exhale back and down. One more time through, I promise. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, swan dive down. We got to get real hot for what's coming up next. Inhale, come halfway up. And exhale, release. Flow. You know where to go. You've done this half a dozen times already. And meet me in downward facing dog or child's pose. So Sati begins to practice her chants, her yogic skills, and begins to burn herself up, igniting a fire. She self-immolates, spontaneous combustion. Because you remember the second part of that agreement was if Daksha and his wife did not treat Sati the right way, she would revert back to her goddess state of Devi, and she would disown the family, destroy the family. From here, walk, step, jump to the very front edge of your mat. Hang your head, bend your knees, reverse swan dive, inhale all the way up. And exhale, release your arms down to your sides. Turn your palms forward, take a shoulder shrug, inhale up, back, and down. And feel that heat within. Spread your fingers, spread your toes, grow tall through the crown of your head. Unlock your knees. Keep on breathing. Just breathe. With your attention turned inward, feel the pounding of your heart. Try to soothe it, calm it down. Try not to combust too much heat. Allow your eyes to float open. And with an inhale, arms come all the way up and overhead. As you exhale, exhale through your mouth. Blow out some of that heat. Into a forward fold. Inhale, come halfway up. And exhale, release. From the front edge of your mat, take a giant step back with your right foot. Wiggle that right heel back, 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 back. Press hard into that back heel. Bring both hands onto the inside arch side of that front foot. Wiggle that front foot a little bit wider out to the side. Turn your toes out at an angle. Advance your chest forward, almost like you're going to do another chaturanga. And maybe you can bend your elbows down towards the ground. Put your elbows on blocks. Or just practice with straight arms. Coming into this low lizard lunge. Bow your head. So the bodyguard that Shiva sent to the party returns to him and reports the news that Sati has spontaneously combusted. The flame of shame burnt so bright that she is no more. She's dead. From here, step back into your downward facing dog. Shake out your hair, wiggle your jaw, maybe even yawn. Breathe. Rise to tippy toes. Shift your body weight forward. Gather your belly up into your body. Take a giant step up with your right foot. Bring both hands on the inside arch side of that front right foot. Maybe wiggle the right foot a little bit wider. Advance your chest forward like you're getting ready to do another chaturanga. And then lower your heart down towards the ground. Maybe bringing elbows onto blocks. And breathe. Head bowed. So rather than calmly taking the news of the death of his beloved, Shiva, this wild, crazy, passionate, fiery man, becomes heated as well. Straighten up your arms. Step back into that downward facing dog. Shake out your hair, wiggle your jaw. Maybe even yawn. Shake out your hair as if your hair was dreadlocks. Pedal your feet from side to side. Dance from side to side like Shiva does. Building more fire. More wild abandon. Uncontrolled heat. Bring your feet a little bit more narrow as you press that left foot towards the floor. Launch your right leg high to the sky. You thought I forgot one side. No, I didn't. You're going to open up to that bad dog at the hydrant on the other side. And breathe. Dancing with wild abandon. Hair flowing. And release. You can walk, jump, or float to the front edge of your mat, depending on whether or not you're going to burst into flames. And bend your knees, reverse swan dive, inhale, come all the way back up. And exhale, release. Knees bent. Inhale, arms up and overhead. Touch that ring of fire as you exhale. Swan dive down into a forward fold. Arms dangle as you inhale, come halfway up. Pull a dreadlock from your head and cast it onto the earth, like Shiva did. Come into that forward fold. Step back with your right foot. Take a nice long stride between your feet. Back heel can stay lifted. Front knee is bent. Arms behind you like a downhill skier. And with an inhale, sweep your arms up. Open your heart. Gaze forward. This is warrior one. From that dreadlock, cast onto the earth. Virabhadra. Vira, hero. Bhadra, friend. Virabhadra, hero, friend. Virabhadrasana. Virabhadrasana, one. Warrior one arises. Reach back. Find a sword in your scabbard. Pull it out. Shing! Towards the sky as you rise from the earth. Inhale up. Exhale, bow forward. Step back into your downward facing dog. Feel free to stay in downward facing dog. If you need more heat though, rise to tippy toes. Shift your body weight forward. Come to the top of that push-up. Chaturanga, lower down. Shoulders back, chest lifted. Up dog. Exhale, down dog. And we're going to pick up Virabhadrasana 1 on the other side. From here, rise to tippy toes. Shift your body weight forward. Take the giant step up with your right foot. Press into that back heel. It may or may not touch the floor. Front knee stays bent. Arms behind you, downhill skier. Inhale, sweep up, catch your ears. Reach back, find the sword in the scabbard. Pull it out and shoot. Your fingertips towards the sky. Head centered between your arms. Gazing forward. Breathing. This first incarnation of Virabhadra, holding a sword aloft. Virabhadra is sent to Daksha's kingdom, to Daksha's party, to slay everybody and take fiery revenge. From here, release both hands to the ground. Step back, downward facing dog. Again, you can stay in downward facing dog or keep the heat going as you rise to tippy toes. Shift your body weight forward. Elbows scrape your body. Chaturanga, lower down. Inhale, chest up dog. Exhale, down dog. From downward facing dog, you're going to rise to your tippy toes. Shift your body weight forward. Take a giant step up with your left foot. Pivot that right heel in and down. Windmill, inhale, up and open into warrior two. As Virabhadra finds the party, he's equipped with a bow and arrow. He sights the enemy, pulls back, and lets fire. He plows through everybody standing between him and Daksha, taking out all the party goers. Cycle both hands down to the mat. Walk both hands all the way around to your right to the other foot. We're going to pivot. Okay, set up for warrior two on the other side. And with a reverse air guitar move, come all the way up into warrior two on the other side. Shoulders back and down. Again, Virabhadra uses the bow and arrow, the two-part weapon. That's how I remember that this is warrior two. We've got two limbs extended, two-part weapon, warrior two. Virabhadra takes out everybody standing between him and Daksha. Daksha's in his sights. Let's take that back arm around towards the back edge of your mat, or the other edge of your mat. And just to mix things up a little bit, step back into that downward facing dog. Stay here, or vinyasa. And rise to tippy toes. Shift your body weight forward, gather your belly up into your body. Step forward with your right foot to the middle of your mat. Begin to shift your weight onto that right foot. Begin to float the back leg off the mat. Got one limb in the air. Let's take two more limbs into the air and find yourself in a warrior three. 1, 2, 3 limbs extended. Aloft in the air. Breathe. And bend that standing knee, touch down for just a brief second. Lift your heart up into a warrior one Draw that sword from your scabbard. Gather your belly strong into your body. Steel yourself, because from here you're going to come back into that warrior three, wherein Virabhadra cuts off Daksha's head. Inhale and exhale in a peaceful, loving yoga way. Decapitate Daksha. And then soften the standing knee, touch down, step back into a downward facing dog, stay in downward facing dog, or ride the wave. The bloody battle, bloody confrontation, fire, passion, revenge. And we got that other side to do. So from here, you're going to rise to tippy toes, shift your body weight forward, take a giant step up with your left foot, well, kind of half a step forward with your left foot. Shift your body weight onto that left foot. Begin to float the right off the ground. Got one limb, 2 and 3 limbs extended. Balancing for your warrior three. Breathing. In case you haven't noticed, these gods and goddesses are by no means perfect. We have just as many foibles as the rest of us humans. They were created by the humans, by the way. So, of course, they're made in our image. You're going to soften that front knee, touch back, lift your heart up. Once again, reach back for that sword, holding in your belly, extending, tipping forward. Warrior three. Breathing as best you can. And then soften, touch down. One more time. Do it for the children. Step back into your downward facing dog. One last time, vinyasa, if that appeals to you. And downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, you're going to bend your knees down to the mat. Find some padding for beneath your knees. Bring your big toes together, separate your knees wide, and curl up into your child's pose. Again, you can stack your fists, 1 potato, 2 potato, put that third potato on top, or use the edge of a brick to rest your head upon. And turn your attention inward. Let your breath come slowly in and out through your nose. Begin to calm your mind, settle your body, calm your breath. Let some of that heat dissipate. Big open mouth exhales. So Virabhadra returns to Lord Shiva, bows before him, reports back that all has been done. Everybody has been killed. Daksha has been beheaded. And Virabhadra sinks into the earth, decomposes, is no more. And press your hands into the floor, back your hips up. Lift your head up. You can untuck your toes. I should take the padding out from beneath your knees. Good. And you're going to swing your legs out in front. Find something to sit on. It might be pillow, it might be 2 matching blocks, but do sit on something. I'm going to calm it down. I'm going to wrap this story up. Sitting on 2 blocks or pillow, sit on something. Coming for circle. Coming to the end of the story here. Put the bottoms of your feet together. Let your knees go wide. Shrug your shoulders up, back, and down. If you're nervous about your knees, you can put a little something underneath your knees. Or if you find that you're rocking from side to side, put some more stuff underneath your knees to help stabilize you. We all need a little bit more stability in our lives. Take a good shoulder shrug up, back and down. Press your fingertips into the floor. Let your heart shine forward and close your eyes. Continue taking those long, slow, cooling breaths. Letting the heat from your internal organs, the passion in your loins, dissipate. Breathe. Open heart. Relax your jaw. Soften your heart. Take deep belly breath. Lord Shiva, being a fiery, passionate guy, of course, was still dancing. He tears at his hair, he dances, fiery, angry, passionate, grief. He goes to the side of the party and he gathers up Sati's body. And he holds on to it. And he carries it all over India. And eventually, her body is cut up into 51 pieces, and those 51 pieces are now sites of worship. You can go worship the feminine, the Shakti. These are actual places you can go visit. So turn your attention inward and visit that place of calmness. Be kind to yourself. If you're a female, worship yourself a little bit. Breathe. And eventually Shiva no longer has his beloved wife. Nothing to hold on to anymore. And he retreats to the forest and sinks into a deep meditative state once again. We've come full circle. We've finished this vinyasa, this cycle. From here, open your eyes. Use your hands to bring your legs to conclusion. Close your legs. And then from here, I'm going to remove the blocks. And I'm going to swing both legs off to one side. So you might end up with your right foot near your left knee and your left big toe pointed behind you. Hips are uneven. We're going to try balancing them. Always trying to balance the uneven things in our lives, in the universe, in the cosmos. So try to balance those hips out. Locate your right shoulder. Let your shoulder shrug up, back and down. Let your heart shine. Bring that back hand, your right hand behind you. Inhale, lift your left arm up. And as you exhale, turn your attention inward. Pull your belly in. Wrap that tar bomb across your body as you rotate to look behind you to the past. So these stories, the mythological stories of yoga, and the names of various yoga poses and characters, kind of like the days of our lives. These are stories told over and over and over again. There's always another episode. From here, turn your attention forward and swing your hips, your legs over to the other side. You're going to twist the other way. You might end up with your left foot near your right knee, your right big toe pointed behind you. You might endeavor to balance your hips as best you can. Find that left shoulder, hitchhike up, back, and down. Bring that left hand behind you like a kickstand. Open your heart, breathe deep. And as you exhale, take that right arm across your body, turn to look behind you. So the idea is that you can look to the past and see the future. And if we look into the future, we will see the past. The never-ending Anubis, a circle, a snake eating its own tail. And then from here, come back to neutral. All right. You're going to make your way down to the ground. You might consider using a pillow underneath your head. You got a belt nearby? I'll give you an option for the belt. If you know how to do fancy things with the blocks, feel free to do fancy things with the blocks. If you like, you can tie your thighs together. I can't help you tie the belt. You're going to have to buckle your own belt or tie your own knot. But when you strap yourself in, try to use it like a belt, not a tourniquet. You don't want to cut off circulation. You just want to give yourself enough support so that your legs stay together. They don't fall open. I'm going to let my feet go a little bit wider than my feet wider than my knees. Feet about as wide apart as my mat. I'm going to bring my knees together and cinch them up, not quite tight, but securely. And then when I lie back down, put a pillow underneath my head. Turn your attention inward. So you have the option of coming into this constructive rest or Ardha Shavasana pose, or stretching full out, flat out for regular Shavasana, or doing something fancy with your blocks. Again, turn your attention inward. Soothe yourself with calming, cooling breaths. So as I said, these stories are never ending. They are the daytime TV, the soap operas of the ancient world, told generation to generation. And the story of Shiva and Sati continues. Although Sati has reverted back to Devi, Devi eventually incarnates again as another woman, another girl, another woman. And this one is born to a father that truly respects women, and he honors his agreement with Devi to never butt heads, to never to do the things that Daksha did to Sati. This new father and the new daughter get along, and they both worship Shiva, and this daughter is Parvati. She eventually grows and matures and comes to love Shiva, not in a teenage way, but in a full-grown, fully matured, feminine way. And Shiva and Parvati are together forever, helping to maintain that balance, the yin, the yang, the male and female, the hatha, the yoga, the union of opposites in equal measure. So as you settle in, let your breath come slowly in and out through your nose. Allow the inhale to become longer. Allow the exhale to become longer. Endeavor to find balance between the inhale and the exhale. Settling into the earth. Begin to wiggle your fingers and toes. If you're tied up, bring those knees in and loosen strap. And make your way slowly over onto your right side. And sit any way that is comfortable for you. And finish with hands together at the hearts. With a word that can be used in farewell or in greeting as a sign of acknowledgement and respect. Namaste.